The multiverse is a boundless expanse of magic and adventure. Most are unaware of anything beyond their own world, but planeswalkers are something different. Planeswalkers are able to travel between worlds and experience everything that magic has to offer. The life of a planeswalker is one of freedom and of choice, unbound by borders or fate. Planeshift is an actual play D&D 5th edition podcast, where we play as planeswalkers exploring the multiverse of Magic the Gathering, discovering our characters' new potential, and having a lot of fun in the process. Check us out every other Friday wherever podcasts are listened to, or on our website, planeshiftpodcast.podbean.com. I hope you can join us.
Welcome back to Merely Roleplayers, where theatrical people play role-playing games. I have been setting the scene, and Ellie and Dave have been bringing the drama. But now it's time. Now it's time to relax and let some of that drama rise off us in waves.
Erase some of those stress colouring in bits I've done.
Hello, Ellie.
Hi.
Hello, Dave.
Hello.
So we've just finished what I guess we'll call I think we're going to use Shakespearean naming convention for these. So it's going to be that was part one. Part one, act 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
And next one will be part 2. Mm-hmm. So the story is not over.
No.
We're making this a long season. We're going to do another session of this. But having just finished today's session, how are you feeling?
Exhausted.
Yeah, there was a lot of thinking on our feet, and I think it's probably my least familiar genre, so I didn't find it as easy to reach for the kind of jargon and tropes as I have with other series.
Yeah, and I think because the structure of it is that the characters are a bit more defined in what they do, you're a little bit more removed from just being yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So your interactions with the other characters need to have a little bit more thought behind them, because you're not just yourself. There's a little bit more to it.
Yeah. It didn't feel like you were acting like, I don't know if this is a nice thing to say or not. If it didn't feel like you were either of you a million miles away.
No, exactly.
No,
reality.
Yeah. I think Dave felt very much like himself, especially with the universal sex appeal. I mean, that is a constant day-to-day life
me,
issue for you.
It's easy. It comes naturally.
Exactly. I think I allowed myself to be meaner than I probably am in real life. At least I hope that's what it came across.
It seemed exactly like your normal self. I don't know what you're talking about.
Because I found it quite hard to sort of walk the line. So I'm supposed to have a bit of a conflict relationship with Dave because we love each other deep down, but he constantly presents ideas that I'm supposed to shoot down. Mm-hmm. So doing that, but in a supportive role-playing environment is quite tricky. Yeah. So I hope none of my no's felt real.
That's fine. I don't really want to see you again for another couple of weeks, if that's all right.
Yeah, that seems fine. Just a cool-down period. Yeah, I get that.
It's like when you have a bad dream about someone and you can't look at them again.
Yeah, it's a funny one. And it's definitely more intense when there's only 2 people playing.
Yeah, I was saying to Dave earlier, it's weird. Everything takes less time because there's fewer people to agree on things. And so I kept finding myself going, oh, the scene's over. I need to concentrate on what's happening next. What shall I set up next?
Yeah, I bet it's a harder job for you because to some extent when there's lots of us, you can kind of be like, oh, well, I've got at least 10 minutes before they stop arguing to think of what's happening.
Yeah, there are points when it gains enough of its own momentum that I don't have to say anything for a little while. But yeah, there's kind of constantly working out, especially when you're split up as well, and I have to kind of direct who we're with at either point.
Yeah. Yeah, you did really, really well. I
thank
didn't
you.
feel at any point like there wasn't enough coming from you. But I think, because like you say, with fewer people, you get through things quicker. It meant that actually we recorded as long as we have for some things previously, but we covered so much more ground in that time period.
Yeah. Yeah, although actually I suppose we only really did one job.
Yeah, I mean, I had another job planned that was one that I didn't know how the timings were going to work out, that either you could have done both possibly, or that could have been an alternative. So still got that in the bank for next chapter if I need it.
I think a lot of our time was taken up with trying to get out of situations from failing so frequently.
Yeah, the fails really drove it this time.
One of us failed a bit more than
I failed 7 times. 7 failures.
Yeah, they really drove what was going on much more than I think any of the other games we've done.
Yeah. Well, because you haven't got as many people to literally provide backup.
Yeah.
If you fail, you've just got to try something again yourself. Like when I was on my own fighting whatever they're called, the recalibrator. I couldn't just be like, oh, Vicky, maybe you could help me out here. I mean, you did come in at the end of it. Yeah, with a very broken ship. But I
loved that moment, by the way.
Yeah, so good. That was cinematic in my head when it was happening.
It was very set aside all sense to come back for your crewmate. I thought that was kind of beautiful.
But what I like is that kind of that happened and went wrong, and then it went wrong so badly that it kind of felt like you had to step in and be like, and an AI turns up and saves you.
I did think. I don't think that character was supposed to appear for a while.
I was trying to be the one who turns up in the nick of time and saves everybody.
So I was what the game calls burning a fuse on that.
So it was on its way.
It was on its way.
Okay.
So
and luckily it took us ages to get everywhere because I'm such a bad driver, so I was catching up pretty quick.
Yeah. So I had a couple of what the game calls strains running throughout the whole thing. One of which you kind of knew about, which was that the conclave were closing in and looking for an excuse to take you down. So that was every time you did something really conspicuous, conspicuously unlawful.
Yeah.
That got a mark, and when that filled in, that's when they turned up.
Oh, they did turn up.
They did turn
So
up.
it's a bit like in GTA 3.
A little bit, yeah, like Wanted Stars. And the other one was Sim is in the background monitoring, waiting for a chance to make contact to decide whether you are the ones to help it out or not.
Right.
And we proved our loyalty by driving a spaceship down the street.
Yeah, I might have fudged the timings a little bit because it looked like you might die, and I wanted to keep things moving. But it was about time for that fuse to finish anyway, so to climax, right? So that was good. I'm finding that useful as a way of planning sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool because it also means that you know that there's stuff happening in the background. We don't necessarily know anything about it, which is...
But then it does mean that you introduce things at a point where they actually have naturally climaxed because you're marking those points of escalation.
Yeah, it does. Even though I am getting to choose the timing a bit, it doesn't feel quite so arbitrary.
Yeah.
It's like, this is allowed to happen now.
Yeah.
Enough has happened to build this up.
It doesn't come out of the blue. And Dave accidentally guessed the name of your AI straight off.
Yeah. Well, after the amount of nicknames I used, one of them was going to be right at some point.
Yeah, I'd have switched and gone with you. If you decided you wanted to call it Rhombus, I'd have stuck with that. It would have accepted that.
Yeah, Rhombus was my first
Rhombus.
guess.
Yeah,
Mr.
but I had Sim as my name for it.
Yeah.
Which you just happened to choose. You've done that a fair bit because you were on the same. We were same brain about parabiosis in Let's Get Gideon as well.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Dave's just maybe he's just got some spy gadgets planted in around your house.
I was telling Matt the story of the television show that you were watching with Vicky, where I just guessed the entire plot from one screen.
Came in after having a few drinks on a Friday night. Me and Vicky were being old women watching telly on a Friday night, and we jokingly said, guess what the show is that we're watching? And he just went, she's an orphan and now loads of supernatural stuff happening to her and she thinks she's got powers. And we were like, what is wrong with you? Have you looked it up? And you were like, nope. And that was from and it was paused as well. It was from a frozen frame of the show.
Essentially a woman in a field on her own.
Wow.
But I think Dave then justified it by being like, I just chose buzzwords of shows that you watch.
More about knowing the viewers.
I'm not actually a wizard. It's all sleight of hand, smoke and mirrors.
It's just me and Vicky being really predictable about what we watch. I think it was really fun, and although it was super intense and like draining in terms of having to think quite quickly and sort of reaching for the tropes of the genre, I didn't feel like after the first few minutes I didn't feel as under pressure to perform as I thought I would, because I was like, oh, there are 50% of the people here, that means that's 50% more pressure and attention on us. But actually it didn't feel like that.
No, and I also think our kind of dynamic works quite well for what we were doing as well. It was almost like a buddy cop kind of setup where we both have two completely different approaches to things, so there's more drama just built into that naturally.
Yeah, and we temper each other with our decisions as well. So you'll say something totally crazy, I'll say something really boring, and then we'll come to a medium agreement. But although sometimes we allow each other to do the things
just do the thing straight up. Yeah,
like
exactly.
the dogs. But it was really funny actually, because there was a part way through it where I thought actually we are perfectly almost recreating the character dynamic from Warehouse 13, which is the show I referenced as to why I chose my character type. Because Micah's partner in the show is the exact type that you're playing in this. And that's why, because those two types work really well together as the kind of maverick and the straight guy.
Yeah, also as a side note, I would absolutely play this weekly in a group. I think it's a really good, because of the setup of you do a job, you make progress. It works really well as a kind of episodic type game. So yeah, kudos to that. It's
I'm sure it's very different working off an actual system. I had to pause to shuffle paper and look up exact outcomes of things a lot more often, but it's very reassuring knowing that the outcomes are defined and it's not all on me to work out what happens as a result of a fail and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's good. What I really like about it, which is related to that thing about the jobs and that kind of thing, is how it creates kind of an economy where you have to keep doing stuff. You have to keep going on adventures.
Yeah, because enough of your stuff is depleting that if you don't keep going...
Yeah, you're always on the poverty line, and there's always a reason, there's always something that you need that you have to go out looking for work in order to do.
And the kind of prescribed outcomes for roles help with that as well. So when you're told, okay, you've got a mixed result, so you have to choose 2 from this list, and some of them are good and some of them are bad. That's what led us to taking the dogs, because it was like, well, we have to take whatever is offered up. So it's quite a good kind of from limitation comes creativity setup. I think it works quite nicely.
Yeah, we got a reasonable number of aliens.
Yeah, we probably should get more diverse.
Yeah.
we kind of stuck with snake people.
Snake people, and then obviously Bing with his weird mantis arms.
Bing turned out to be a great character, though.
I'm so glad you hung on to him.
Oh, he's so cute.
I didn't expect to warm to him quite as much as I did.
You played him so lovely.
He's just this very anxious person.
Yeah, but very clever, and I think probably the thing that got me was how endearing he is when he gets nicknamed. He's just so pleased every time, and then trying tentatively to nickname you, Dave. It's so cute. He called you Affidavit. That's one of the things you're definitely going to have to do prepping for the next round.
Is come up with a load of
nicknames for everyone that's involved.
So what are you excited to see potentially happen in chapter 2?
I think, for me, it feels very similar to the Mass Effect 2 ending build-up, that everything is building towards this one end goal, and you've got all these different little jobs that you need to get done to get there. And it's kind of up to us to choose which way we're doing it and what we're doing, but the ultimate goal is always the same. And we know that something terrible is going to happen when we get there, but that's the excitement of it.
We've got a big purpose and a big goal.
Yeah, because at the start it was just we're just doing some jobs.
Yeah.
We're going to just do our space stuff, it's going to be fine.
I felt like our kind of adult lives had just been sort of bouncing from job to job and being relatively good people, but not really having anything driving us in particular. So I think that's going to be interesting. I think I'm really looking forward to obviously having more characters involved. I think that would be really interesting. And I think it would be good to, meet more alien people. Yeah, I'm kind of in keeping with my character, I'm getting a little bit excited about doing some homework and writing down some new made up names and some new alien types.
Excellent.
Yeah, and I might do some research. If I'm gonna gen up on my genre genning, what should I watch?
Oh, that's a good one.
Really good question.
So you mentioned Farscape.
Farscape's
Never watched
great.
that.
Yeah, I think it's all on Netflix, or it was last time I looked.
Yeah, I mean, they show loads of old stuff on Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah, I mean, Battlestar's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I don't get on with Battlestar.
Yeah.
It's good, but it's very politics, which is sort of not the way that this game has ended up going.
Ideal for...
It's good for like the ship combat is very good, like the way all the like space chases and firefights are shot is amazing.
I've watched 4 seasons of it, and I can't do it.
But Farscape is a lot more pulpy and a lot more camp, and has lots of weird aliens made by the Jim Henson Company.
Yay! Okay.
And like a really, really strong central romance as well, which is cool.
Yeah.
So super recommend that to anybody, not just Ellie.
Yeah.
As you say, Dave, we're sort of heading in a Mass Effect direction, but that's
a video game.
It's a video game. You can't really watch that. I think there are tie-in novels and things.
Come around and watch one of you guys play it. Remember my teenage years fondly. A lot of time spent watching boys play video games.
I think we had a bit of a Firefly episode there.
I love Firefly. I could rewatch Firefly.
You could just watch Logan's Run for fun because it's amazing.
I've never watched Logan's Run.
It is.
Is it the one where
treat.
when you turn 30 you have to run
go
away
on carousel?
Yeah.
Which is basically everyone just gets killed when
Awesome.
they're 30.
Writing that one down.
Yeah. How do you feel about Star Wars?
I love Star Wars.
Yeah.
I probably a lot of this is I've watched kind of some of the big sci-fi things, but I tend to only watch films once.
Oh yeah.
So
it sounds like you had a fairly decent amount of sci-fi stuff that you have seen.
I just need to maybe refresh.
Awesome. If anybody listening has any other recommendations,
tweet.
Do share them on the Twitters. And unless anybody's got any other questions,
no, I'm just excited about doing it again.
We'll see you in the next part.
You've been listening to Merely Roleplayers. You can look us up wherever you find podcasts, on Twitter @merelyroleplay and at facebook.com/merelyroleplayers. Reviews and kind words are all very much appreciated, and we hope you'll join us again for our next episode.
What was our space swear word to end on?
Split.
Splick, which we never used once. Splick off.
Oh yeah, tweet in suggestions for swears as well.
Please, we need them.